Okay, moving ahead with the last panel discussion of the day, diversity, equity and inclusion beyond compliance to true transformation. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Ms. Rakhee Samsi Kamath, Head Learning and OD at Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals Limited. Can we have a big round of applause for Ms. Rakhee? Rakhee is a transformative HR leader with over 2 decades of expertise in learning and development, talent management, leadership development, and change management. As head of L&OD at Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals Limited, she shapes future-ready leaders and drives impactful cultural shifts. With a career spanning Vodafone India, Grasim Industries, Aditya Birla Group, Raymond Limited, and Vedanta, Rakhee has led businesses' transformation, leadership, development, and employee engagement across manufacturing, retail, BFSI, IT, and FMCG. Passionate about turning chaos into opportunity, she excels at building L&OD functions from the ground up. Her mantra, lead your life like a dictionary, providing meaning to everyone who refers to it. Please put your hands together once again. With this following, I would like to introduce our panelist, Ms. Anita Shrinivas, Head Learning and Development at Sodexo. Ms. Prachi Singh, VP People and Culture at ESG at INL Funds. Mr. Manish Meshram, Head of Learning and Development at Property Solutions India Private Limited. Mr. Parin Vithlani, VP Training and Development at Svasti Microfinance. Ms. Rupali Mahadik, Global Employee Experience Program Manager at QAD. Can we have a big round of applause for the moderator and all the panelists? I would request Ms. Rakhee to take the conversation ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone, and it's truly a pleasure to be here with this esteemed panel. And trust me, this session is going to be a lot about not only talking about the concept, but actually it's like, unpeeling the concept and really demystifying what it really means. So we may not follow the traditional route. We may go a little bit quirky or wacky, as you may say it. But trust me, you'll have a lot of fun, and we will keep coming back to you and engage you as well. So let's begin. The topic for today is diversity, equity, and inclusion beyond compliance to transformation. I'm sorry. So let's first understand what actually it means. So I really want to ask each one of you. Diversity is like a big umbrella. So what is that one word that comes to your mind when you hear diversity?
I would say person with disability and LGBTQ.
Wow, a huge topic, and you said one word.
One word,
but
yes.
Let's start with multicultural.
Okay.
I think since morning we are speaking about Gen Zs and other things, so I think generation is one thing.
Generations, okay.
I like to keep it very simple, gender.
Gender, okay.
I would like to say abilities, both physical and cognitive abilities is what we acknowledge and we respect.
So the diversity in thought. So you see, diversity as a word is just not limited to this. It's not about gender. It's not only about generation. It's not only about disability. It's not only about orientation. It's not only about cognitive abilities. It's not only about thought. So it has many shades to it. So when we talk about this topic, obviously our answers are also going to be covering many walks and many spheres of life today. But diversity is given. Right? In this room, there are so many types of diversity that exist as of now. Be it gender, be it age, be it religion, be it your education background. So all sorts of diversity is existing over here, and it will always continue to exist. So it's not anything new for us. All we need to do today is to understand how we really use that power of diversity in our workplace, and that's what we will attempt to do over the next 30 to 40 minutes that we have. Okay? So let's begin with the first question, and this question is for you, Prachi. Does diversity make business sense, or it's more of a fad?
Oh, absolutely. I think the reason it stays amongst us is because it makes business sense. And I think two-pronged answer that I can give you. One, a very objective sense. There is a study from McKinsey, which is Diversity Matters. Over the last 6 to 7 years, I think the reports have said it all. The simplest number that they throw on the first page is the fact that out of 21,000 organizations that they have studied as sample, organizations with more than 30% women C-suite members are more profitable. So a very, very objective way to see. And I think on the subjective side, if I can put in two things here, and that's coming from a personal experience. I think two very important parts of business, which I think diversity really fosters. One is innovation. When we say diversity, we're talking of people coming from different walks of life, people who are coming from different backgrounds, different experience. I think they bring in a lot broadened perspective to things in a team. And I've seen that practically, the teams which are very diverse and inclusive, that's very important, I think. But teams that are diverse and inclusive, they really foster innovation very well. The other important one I would pick up as is decision making. So, from the erstwhile, we've been hearing this one phrase, which is men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I think the first gender, comment that we've been hearing. And it practically says that women and men are from different walks of life. They see things differently. They acknowledge emotions differently. And I think that also is very true for diversity on the whole as a concept. Because decision making, which is very, very important part of business today, when you have a very diverse team, this is a team that we are talking about which has a broadened talent pool, not just in headcount, but in perspective, like I said, background, experience. They challenge assumptions, and they actually bring in a very different solution to the problems that come in. So I think decision-making is another factor that diverse teams really foster. So I think because of all of this, I do genuinely believe that diversity and inclusion makes a lot of business sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prachi. So very beautifully put. So if I have to kind of sum what you said, I think diversity is actually a microcosm of the external world whom we serve. It's a microcosm of our consumers. And if we are diverse, we very well understand the needs of our consumers and can actually anticipate them before we actually create a solution for them. Thank you so much, Prachi, for that. Can I just bother you a little bit more, if you don't mind? Sure. Since we are there, I would like to take a step further from diversity and really help us understand what is this equity versus equality mix that we keep hearing all the time, And, some people will call it equity, some will call it equality, some weigh one over the other. It's quite confusing and messy out there to those who practice and those who have to go around explaining it to their business heads as to what it is.
Sure.
So,
and as you asked me that question, Rakhee, I'm going to borrow a phrase from my Gen Alpha daughter. She keeps saying same, but different. So I think both equity and equality are about fairness, but in very different senses. Equality, if I have to very simply define, understand to a lot of us here, I would say it's giving that, equal opportunity to all. Like we say, let's have a gender-neutral policies, or let's have a gender-neutral environment, right? I'll give you a very quick example here. In our organization, we realized, so I'm from an agriculture, horticulture domain, we realized that the pool of women, gender per se diversity, in the industry itself is very, very less when it comes to professionally managed jobs and roles. And we realized that so is the mindset. Right. So what we actually started doing is providing that opportunity of gender equality and neutrality by, in our TA process, we brought in a policy 3 years back, wherein we used to send CVs to all reporting managers or HODs hiring without name, age, and the background, as in like, where does this person come from, a tier 1, tier 2 kind. So no address. So no name, no age, no address. Shortlist the person at least on the first gate basis purely on skills and competencies that they bring in on paper at least. Then of course, you interview, you do telephonic, and then you evaluate what has been written on CV, which is fine, fair. But at least on the gate number 1, we've given that equal opportunity to everyone. That for me is gender equality. Now to talk about equity. Equity is actually giving people equitable resources to succeed. Okay, equality is one thing. 5 people, you give them equal opportunity, that's equality. But 5 people who are coming from different backgrounds, right, have different skills, how do you make sure they have an equal opportunity? That is equity. And I'll again give you a small example with it. So in one of our pack houses, we have, it's a very women-led pack house, about 300 laborers who work, and out of 300 are women. Okay, so all women. So yeah, equally, we've been pushing that we need women only because we handle fruits and women do that work well. It's a skill-based requirement and we fulfilled it. But there is where equity came in. Women came in with different heights, right? Someone's shorter, someone's taller. And for most of them, the job that they were doing was peeling pomegranates on a table, right? And everyone at the end of the day gets a small reward based on the kg of errors that they have peeled. Now, someone who is shorter wasn't able to do that well because the height of the table was not right for them. So the equity here is that we now get them to enter height-wise. There are 2 tables which are of shorter height, and all those of shorter height actually occupy those first 2 tables, and rest of others take in the normal tables. So that's equity for all of you as an example. Hope that answers.
I think very, very beautifully put, Prachi. And I think now everybody is going to remember it for their life, what equity and equality is all about. And I really am touched with that such simple solution. Equity solutions are not that hard, they're not that difficult. All they need is a compassionate thought, and you can very well make it happen. One simple example, and this happened years ago when maybe a good 16, 17 years ago, I had my colleague, and both of us were pretty young and working at a great organization. Yeah, still young. I'm still young, yeah, sure. So what happened was, this colleague of mine, she was pregnant, okay? And we used to have cubicles, and the cubicles had like just about this much space for you to step in and step out. And as she came to full term, it was really difficult for her to get in and get out through that narrow space, And of course, at that point in time, DEI was not a known thing. Work from home, flexible working hours, none of these existed. But people were compassionate. And when we realized that this is what is happening, we immediately moved her seat from entering that cubicle to the one which is, which has easy access to the door, to the washroom, to the conference rooms, kind of a thing. So it was about giving her that opportunity to perform and not really restricting her, but very simple thought and very simple action. So equity many times is not about breaking policies or waiting for a big policy change to happen and then going the whole gaga about it, but it's about just being compassionate and taking that one little step to help and support, and that's where equity comes to play. And I really, really loved your example of the smaller tables. Very, very sweet.
Just to add to this,
sure, Anita.
While equality we all understand is gender, equity is more about how we tweak our processes to accommodate all the different genders.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very, very beautifully put. In fact, if I would like to throw open this question to all of you all, because I think equity is close to everybody's heart. So why is equity at workplace so very important? And it definitely has a huge, huge impact on the employee's decision to stay. So if you could share some examples around that as to why it's important and any story that comes to your mind.
So no, I'll just add, I think, story one for sure that I've given. The other is, I think, why is it important is because as HR, as the business enablers, it's our foremost responsibility to make sure our people succeed. It is as simple as that, right? You've given them an opportunity, but not necessarily, that's equal opportunity could work for all. So as I think for me, my key message even to the HRBPs when we talk of equality and when we talk of equity is the fact that our simple agenda as HRs today and as business enablers is to make sure business and people succeed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful. Great. So let's, since we are on the topic of HR, let's move to what HR does the best, making policies, a lot of policies, so that we can actually manage our employee base pretty well. So this question is around policies, and Rupali, if I may ask you to respond to this question. What strategies has your organization employed to ensure DEI policies are effective and implemented? They're equitable and accessible to all employees. Can you share some unique policies, and not only the ones that you have employed, but also the ones that you're aware of, so that all of us can benefit and we walk back with those learnings today saying, yeah, this is something that I can do at my workplace?
Yeah, sure. So before I start about the strategies that we have, I would like to explain I'm from QAD. QAD is an IT organization. And after COVID, we've moved to a totally virtual first organization. So things are equally when it comes to DEI, the focus is larger on covering everybody who's work from home and sometimes who's coming to office. So our first statement from the DEI Council is that, we want our employees to feel that they are in a work environment that values them, respects them as per their unique, perspectives, and also gives them growth across all the backgrounds, right? We just spoke about equity. Prachi very nicely explained with the pomegranate. Nobody's going to forget the pomegranates now. So that's how we define at QAD. Coming to that, what we do is we're an employee-driven organization. When we speak that we're an employee-driven organization, there is a employee resource group, and the employee resource group has a backup of QAD ambassadors and council. So I'm happy to be a part of QAD ambassador over there, wherein we all come in as a team, we give the framework, and then the employee resource group says, okay, in that also there is brainstorming saying that, okay, we should do this, or maybe we could follow this. And we have set 4 pillars for the DEI activities that we do. First is talent. Second is our work environment. Third is communication. And fourth is community. So when we speak about talent and hiring, we already had examples about, how do we eliminate the bias hiring. We have ATS, wherein our ATS helps us eliminating that and looking at a structured interview. Like we do not have, we do not disclose the names like Miss, Mrs. or whoever. It's more about the skills that you're hiring. It's not about, okay, this skills could not be done by a particular gender. It's not that. So we already have a hiring manager program wherein we have trainings like unconscious biasness. How do we boost our culture? What are our value propositions? So we do all those over here. Coming to our talent review process, we try to equalize in terms of, the DEI perspective again. So when we are doing the talent review trainings, when we are communicating, re-messaging to our leaders, to our employees, we try to get that flavor again. We also try to do the progression based on the DEI efforts. Now, coming to the work environment, we already said that, we foster a good work environment, inclusive work environment. In terms of communication, what we do is not only internal, but also external communication we are very focused on, that how we are communicating. And we have something like community services. So one day in a year, an employee can choose which community services they want to go through. Our employees have gone to Animal Center, Family Resource Center, sometimes just, being with the charity firm. So this all we encourage. And at the same time, it's been 2.5 years, we've introduced WISE. WISE is Women Inspiring Success and Empowerment. But when I say women, it's not only women. Everybody is in the group wherein we have a book review, we have a seminar, we have a small webinar, and we encourage that culture each time. Messaging, re-messaging is what we do. All right?
Thanks a lot, Rupali. I think you covered the entire gamut so very beautifully. Since policy is close to all of our heart, would anybody like to share any particular policies that you're super proud of in your organization or that you've heard of, in case anybody would like to add on?
Yeah, I would like to add on. We have code of conduct policy, and we also have policy in terms of, like, if there are any programs, there is a guideline given to, employees wherein, as I said, it is employee driven, right? It's all there in our inside HR pages, and we try to communicate that again and again, but it's on employee to go and read it. And we see a very strong message from an employee that we are covering DEI in terms of the work environment and the 4 pillars that we said. It comes in our employee survey. So I think that is the takeover.
Cool, cool. Really nice. Anyone else would like to add in?
I think I would say that not exactly in terms of policy, but how do we bring it as a part of our policy? So we run something known as She Leads program within our organization, and here is where we actually go out to these NGOs, okay, in terms of where we can get these women from that strata of the environment, and they can come in the system. They can actually do a job shadow for 2 days. They can actually see how the work environment looks like for them, and then we get them converted into, our frontline employees. And the retention has been great over there, and attrition level is as low as 2% for us for these women employees.
Fabulous.
So that has really worked well for Sodexo India.
I think this is something that really deserves an applaud. You're actually not only going ahead to marginalized society, you're bringing them, giving them an exposure of what it means to work in corporate, and then actually giving them the opportunity to uplift their lifestyle. And it's really amazing.
Thank you.
Really, really nice.
Rakhee, I want to quickly add one small point here, which is, again, policy or business enabling. I won't segment it, but I did say that, we have 300 labor working in our pack house and all 300 are women. I also want to actually clarify there that we do also have jobs of loading and unloading. But 2 years back, we took up this initiative or a decision and intent to make this percentage of labor as 100%, wherein we taught these women to drive the smaller pulleys in pack house for loading unloading. So and again, this is equity, which is about that it's not about strength. While loading unloading on the face of it looks like a man's job in the man's world, but with a lot of technology that is coming in and a lot of automation that is coming in, the intent that the organization shows to keep that diversity ratio there, I think that's another example where I think we've been able to work well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Prachi. Thanks a lot for that. So just one policy that I would love to share that I must say I'm super proud of that we have at Crompton. We have something called as a nanny assistance policy for the period of the first 2 years, which is paid by the company. And we find this very, very enabling because this actually helps our colleagues who go on maternity leave actually come back to workplace. Because the biggest worry why people don't come back is there's nobody to look after the kid. So it started as a thought and we made it happen. So that's something that I'm super proud of.
That's very good. Yeah.
Great. So we spoke about diversity, we spoke about equality, equity. Now let's come to the I of it, right? I is all about inclusion. Inclusion, very simple word, right? We all understand inclusion. But by default, our program is every time we include someone, there's somebody there whom you're excluding. And that's by design. And even our organization actually enables exclusion. The moment they put a tag on you saying you're HR, you're finance, you are marketing, you're production, you're sales, right? So you become one and you let loose of the others and an out-group gets formed. So inclusion, needless to say, comes with a lot of systemic barriers for all of us, right? So I would like to understand, some steps that you can take to break these systemic barriers. Like for me, for an example, whenever I am in the HR council or a business meeting, and and nowadays it's the flavor of AOP and budgets, right? So the highest talk of the town is manpower numbers. And I would every single time say, why is it manpower? Your workforce includes both men and women. So why can't it be staffing, or why can't it be workforce? So it's about the narrative. It's very, very unconscious. It's not that anybody is doing it intentionally, okay? But the organization needs that that reminder every single time. And that's all about changing the narrative in the organization, you know. Why should it be called as manpower and not staffing or not workforce? So there are many such things that keep happening, and I often become what you call as the whistleblower, or the person in the team who will always be correcting others, and they'll be like, okay, the moment they see my face, they will start using the right language, and the moment I'm out of the door, they will go back to their normal self, and then they'll say, oh, no, we have to correct ourselves. So that's what it is, you know. And there's also a lot about, when it comes to inclusion, it's about those micro inequities and microaggressions that exist in your entire organization, you know. So would you like to share something around that, you know, something that you felt is not right, and something that you possibly corrected with a small deed or act of yours?
Yeah, I actually have an example, if I can go forward. And I'll actually walk away from just gender inclusion. And I want to share this one example where we had a person with disability working in one of the teams. While the top-down approach is fantastic, having that diversity in the team, very creative guy, bringing in a different perspective in the team meetings, everything. But when it came to setting goals, I noticed that his goals were not same as his peers. Okay, his KRA setting wasn't same. A lot of others who were peers to him, they also had traveling involved in the job, and probably had better, they were better placed to fulfill those harder KRAs, as I was told. And I personally actually took it upon me to correct that. Yes, maybe a person with disability wasn't able to travel as much, but I think assuming that he will not be able to do it is wrong. And that's the, like you said, mindset, right? That's what needs to be changed. You know, even a man or a woman can, raise a hand and say, you know what, I won't be able to do this. My husband could raise a hand in his organization and say, you know what, my daughter has her exam tomorrow, I won't be able to, put in a long call today. It is irrespective of what gender or what diversity they come from. But why assume? And I think that's the mindset that we need to come out of.
Yes, I think it's the assumption which actually kills the process in itself. Many times we assume when we judge and we decide even before really asking the person. One short example, like when I was in a manufacturing plant, the standard assumption in the system was that the plant has to be run by a man. Why? Because the person has to climb up and down 5 flights of stairs. The plant is huge, and stuff like that. And when we pushed and we said that this lady is far more competent and she's been in the system for 20 years, and why can't we make her plant manager? It took us a good solid 2 years to put her through and make her the plant manager, but today she's the most successful one. So, it takes time to break systemic barriers. That's very, very true, but I think persistence is the key to make it happen. Okay, so let's shift the gears a little bit and come to culture. So this question is for you, Manish. Can you share some specific initiatives an organization should take viewing DEI not just as a compliance requirement, but to embed it as an essential part of your culture and identity?
Okay, so DEI against the compliance or beyond the compliance, right? So first of all, as a heart of L&D, I feel that it is the opportunity we have, that we are able to have the structural, the change in the organization, we are able to build, we are able to shape the culture in the organization, where everyone feels empowered, valued, and supported, right? diversity, equity, inclusion, they are not just a buzzword. They are the real foundations which drive, which drives the learning, progress, and how you build, right, in the today's dynamic world. So as an organization, I always feel that DEI should be the strategy of the organization. It should be aligned with the strategy of the organization. The DEI has to be a leadership agenda and not the HR and L&D agenda, right? Majorly what happens when we run the DEI in the organization, it is only HR or L&D who is talking about the DEI. The moment we have the leadership agenda into a DEI and they have the reviews, regular reviews on that, I'm sure there will be a change, right? The lenses will be changed. Similarly, when we do a hiring part of it, the hiring has to be in such a manner that irrespective, it should be open for everybody and not limited, right? We should give an opportunity, equal opportunity, irrespective of the background the person is holding. Similarly, when it comes to a learning part, the learning has to be in such a manner that every person in the organization should get the opportunity that he is able to learn. He is getting the opportunity to get something. Generally, what happens is there is a focus on certain set of peoples where they are getting the opportunity to learn, whereas few peoples are not. See, in the facility management, we always have the on-site and off-site, right? There are people who are on the rigs. They don't have the opportunity to learn. In that case, the L&D need to go a little extra mile and understand that how we should be able to reach that person, right? We need to create the content in different ways so that that person feel inclusive, that I have the opportunity to learn. And majorly, we need to have the investment in the DEI, which is very rare, to be very honest. The moment we see we need a budget for DEI, it's said like, do it with your L&D thing, right? And the moment we have a budget, the leaders we are going to ask, where is the ROI of this, right? Generally, what happens is the pre and post, but I would suggest that we should go extra mile, we should implement the Kirkpatrick model, and we should look for the level 5 of the ROI. That's my take. Prachi.
Thank you so much, Manish. Anita, can you share a little bit more on this as well? Because I know you do a lot in this space.
Thank you so much. So as most of you are aware, that Sodexo is not only just the meal or the coupon company, right? It's also about facility management and food services. In fact, 96% of our business is facility management and food services. The staffing strength currently is close to 60,000 employees on rolls, and we are huge when it comes to diversity and inclusion. I believe, and I have seen this in Sodexo, it all starts from the employee value proposition that we have. You belong to a team, you act with a purpose, and you thrive in your own way. Now, how do we do that, right? While we would have the hiring processes, we mask the CVs for sure. We don't share their names, gender, age, and we send the CVs to leaders for them to then shortlist and go ahead. Now, when we have them on board, what kind of culture are we going to build in so that they can also thrive in their own way? So there are two ways to look at it. One is our current team ready to accept the outside-in approach? And how do we build that? So we do a lot of programs around spirit of inclusion, around neurodiversity, and we make sure that our team is ready. Needless to say, POSH and POXO and stuff that goes as per legal requirements. But we make sure that our team and our mindsets are ready so that that unconscious biasness that we have, we eliminate that. Once we have the gender diversity on board, especially for our women employees, we run programs like She Leads program, where I already spoke about the job shadowing part of it. Apart from that, we provide AGM level and above. We have a global coaching and mentoring programs for them. But what about the ones who are AM to AGM level? We run a different program known as ICAN, in which our India women leaders actually handhold them, and the objective is to build a bench for future. And we call them as high potentials also in such cases, right? So these are just few examples of how we do it. I personally believe that when you actually train or build the knowledge for a woman, it is not only for just one woman, it's also about the community that she goes and she creates an impact on, right? So it's very important to pass that right message through all of these different initiatives, while these are just few. Of course, we have different generations, X, Y, Z, all of them within the system. And within my own team, right, I have people who are senior to me, as young as 22, as old as, 50, close to 15 plus now. So it's very important for us to be open with the mindset to understand and acknowledge their capacity and their skills and give them the right platform to progress. So I think this is how we can build culture. It all starts with you. At Sodexo, it all starts with you.
Wow, fabulous, Anita. Thank you so much. That was absolutely wonderful. So let's come to, like they say, culture is a reflection of a leader. So we cannot really conclude this discussion without understanding about the leader and how leadership can actually drive DEI initiatives. So Parin, I'll give you the last word of actually enlightening us as to how does your organization demonstrate the commitment to DEI, and what mechanisms do you put in place to hold the leadership team accountable to drive DEI interventions?
Well, time's up. But then
It's a thumbs up.
So yeah,
Time is all yours.
sorry, Divya, I'm taking some time. So thank you for this opportunity, and what a wonderful discussion. I work for a company called Svasti Microfinance, and we are a niche kind of a industry where we are trying to evolve various mechanisms, wherein DEI is again a stepping stone for us. So, but I was hearing beautiful things from my fellow colleagues, and I'm taking a lot of baggage here, and I'll definitely push it on to my leadership. But what I feel, what I've seen in DEI, he clearly said, Manish, that leadership is very important and plays a very critical role in implementing anything, not even DEI, but anything in the organization, because everyone look at the leadership, what they're doing, their style. So what I feel is, I'll keep it very simple. I'll tell you, there are three layers what I feel in leadership. One is the board, one is the CXO level, and next is the last is the senior management level. Now, everywhere you need to take care about the DEI policies to be implemented and regularly monitored. Now, for example, if you're attending a board meeting, there should be a section specifically talking about how we are implementing DEI in the organization, what are the impacts, how you're taking feedbacks. Comes to CXOs, they have a lot of privileges to talk to employees in regular intervals. Like she said, employee research groups or like focus groups, pick it up from them on regular intervals and ask what are the things that they want more apart from what they are implementing right now. The most important thing that the CXO level should take care should be imbibe DEI in the value system of the organization. Okay, it's very critical because everyone follows the values of the organization, because they have to. That's the path of reaching your vision and mission of the organization. Every organization has vision and mission. So values are the path or the steps. So that step should have something involved in DEI as well, because DEI is a relatively very new concept, and I'm sure 50% and more than 50% of the organization are not following DEI. Okay, it's looking simple right now, just speaking with examples. It is not easy. Okay, what I feel. So values, they should be imbibing values. Talk to the research teams regularly. Then it again comes to the training team, as he said, my friend, it always comes to training team. So training also plays a very important role, wherein we involve leadership going to attend all DEI workshops. Coming up everywhere, very interesting ones. They were speaking a lot always. We're not talking. Now I'm getting a chance. We
have to be inclusive.
2 minutes. So they should attend, leadership should attend DEI workshop, and all the senior management should come and talk to the newbies come into the organization and talk about how they are implementing in their respective departments the DEI things, and that will evolve. And because when we nurture them, a नया बच्चा जन्म करता है तो उसको हम nurture करते हैं, बार-बार चीजें बताते रहते हैं, तो that things get into his value system. So same thing goes to DEI. We need to imbibe again and again. We need to give them the feedback that this has not been done properly, this has been done properly, so that that entire value has been created in the organization. And lastly, coming to accountability, I would quickly wrap up by saying that HR should take good steps to implement DEI in their performance bonuses, performance meetings, PMS systems, into incentive structures. Because if you give them some carrot, probably it's a boost to them. So what I feel lastly is that if an organization is following the DEI culture well, it's known to outside world, it's truly a great place to work. I feel.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Parin. Thanks a lot. And I'm sure my panel has a lot more to say, but Divya is ensuring that we are up and we should move. So thank you so much. So thanks a lot, and it was fun hosting the session with all of you all, and thank you so much, Anita, Prachi,
Thank you.
Manish, Parin, Rupali. Thanks a lot for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakhee. You have been amazing.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? We can take one question. Oh, wow. One question.
Oh, now you're allowing questions?
Only one question.
No questions? If you don't have questions, I have questions, okay?
नहीं.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, then in that case, I'll just end with a tip. When I always start my session, we always say common man, right? And whenever I start any of these women's session, I say there's never a common woman. Why? Because a woman can never be common. Okay? She's truly special, and that's the reason why we all are original. So that's a tip. You can also use the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rakhee, for moderating the session so well, and thank you to all our panelists for bearing with me. Thank you. And I would like to call upon stage Ms. Kanika Tiwari, CEO at Go Diverse, to do the honors. Can we have a big round of applause?